Two strangers, one forest, 60 seconds of silence. The choice they made in those 60 seconds is the reason you exist. This is the most important moment in human history. More important than the wheel, more important than farming, more important than writing itself. No king ordered it, no scroll recorded it, nobody even gave it a name. But everything you know, every road, every language, every word in your head right now, traces back to it. So let me put you there. Imagine you're a member of an ancient tribe. The sun has barely cracked the horizon, the air bites, frost crunches under your feet, and smoke from last night's fire still hangs low to the ground, sharp and bitter in your nose. A few people crouch near the dying embers, half awake. Everyone else is still asleep. The world is quiet. Too quiet. Today is your turn to hunt. You wrap your fingers around the cold shaft of your spear. You trade a few rough words with the other hunters. Barely words at all. A look, a nod, and you step into the trees. This is normal. You've done it 100 times. You know where the animals gather at dawn. You know which paths are safe. You know where the predators hunt, and how to stay clear of them. This forest is your world. Everything you have ever known lives somewhere inside it. The river, the hunting grounds, the caves, the faces of the people you call family. And beyond it, nobody knows. Maybe more forests, maybe endless mountains, maybe the edge of everything. You have no map, no words for places you've never seen. As far as you're concerned, your tribe is the center of all existence. The world is small, at least, that's what you believe. But the world is far bigger than your mind was ever built to imagine, and today, you're about to find out why. It starts with something small. As you move through the trees, you catch marks pressed into the soft, wet earth near the riverbank. Footprints. Human footprints. You stop. That's odd. These aren't yours. They don't belong to anyone in your hunting group. The mud is still settling into them. They're fresh, minutes old, and something feels even more wrong than the prints themselves. They're organized, evenly spaced, walking a straight, steady line, like someone moved through here with purpose, not panic. You crouch. You press your own finger into the cold clay beside one, and a single question rises in your mind, sharp and clear. Who made these? Because here's the problem. You know everyone in your tribe, every hunter, every child, every elder. You know the shape of their feet, the length of their stride, and these belong to none of them. Suddenly the forest feels different. The air sits heavier. The birds have gone quiet, like the trees are holding their breath. Like something, somewhere, is watching you back. Your grip tightens on the spear. Your heart begins to pound. You raise a hand, a silent signal. The others catch it instantly. In a heartbeat, every one of them is alert, and you follow the tracks. Slow, careful. Each step forward feels like walking deeper into something you have no name for. The further you go, the more certain you become. Someone is out here, someone you've never met. And they're close. Too close. Then you hear it. Movement. A branch snapping. Leaves dragging. But it isn't the careless noise of an animal. It's controlled, spaced, like footsteps. Human footsteps. You freeze. The sound stops instantly. Silence. Not ordinary silence. The kind where you can hear your own pulse thudding in your ears, where even breathing feels like a risk. A few seconds pass. They stretch like hours. And then, you see them. A figure, standing dead still between two trees. And for one strange moment, your brain refuses to make sense of what your eyes are showing it, because the figure looks exactly like you, human, but unfamiliar, completely unknown. Not your tribe, not your people, not anyone you have ever seen in your life. You stare at them, they stare back. Neither of you moves, neither of you breathes, and something ancient, something far beneath thought, takes the wheel of your mind. What is this? Friend? Enemy? Or something else entirely? Then it happens. Another figure steps out behind them, and another, from the trees, from the shadows, from everywhere. And in one gut-dropping instant, you understand something terrifying. You are not alone. Today, a stranger is nothing. You pass hundreds of them every day without a second thought, just faces, just background. But for almost the entire span of human history, a stranger was not background. A stranger was the unknown, and the unknown could kill you. Because ancient humans didn't live in nations or cities. They lived in small, isolated groups, sometimes only a few dozen people. Your whole world was your tribe. That was everything. So meeting another group wasn't just rare. It was almost unthinkable, and your brain was never built for it. The mind inside that ancient skull isn't a modern mind having a quiet morning. It's a survival machine carved by one brutal rule. When you don't know, assume danger. The humans who met strangers and felt only curious often didn't live long enough to pass anything on. The ones who felt fear did. So fear won, fear got passed down, and it's still sitting inside you right now, thousands of generations later. That cold drop in your stomach when something just feels off, that's it. That's the forest, still talking to you. Back between the trees, it's escalating. More of your tribe arrives behind you, and now it's clear. Two groups, facing each other, in total silence. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody shares a language. Nobody can read the other's intentions. And both sides, without a single word, are asking the same question. Will they attack? Fear floods both groups at once, not because anyone is cruel, not because anyone wants blood, but because nobody knows. And not knowing is the oldest trigger in the human brain. Slowly, someone bends and lifts a stone, not thrown, not raised, just held. A signal, strength, a warning, and almost instantly the other side answers, the same gesture. Weapons appear, spears, stone blades, heavy clubs of wood, not aimed, but ready. Your palm is slick against the spear shaft. The forest is no longer a forest. It's become a pressure point in the entire story of your species. Every breath feels loaded. Every flick of the eyes is red. Every twitch of a hand could be the spark. And misunderstandings are exactly how history breaks. But here's what almost no one realizes about this moment. This standoff, this silent knife-edge standoff, is not the dangerous part. The dangerous part is what comes next. Because in the next few seconds, these two groups will make a choice. The same choice that gets made in 1,000 forms across the whole of human history. And the choice they make is the reason you're here. Something unexpected begins to happen. Both groups start to study each other, not just watch, read. The way they stand, the way they grip their weapons, the way they breathe, and the way the fear on the strangers' faces looks exactly like the fear on your own. Because fear is universal. And slowly, something shifts. The strangers don't look like monsters. They don't look like spirits or demons from a story told around the fire. They look like you, hunters, survivors, tired, cold, hungry, human. And for the first time, a dangerous, world-changing thought appears. Maybe they aren't enemies. Maybe they're just others. But a thought isn't enough. Trust doesn't exist yet. And without trust, nobody moves. Nothing changes. So how do you build trust with someone you can't speak to? You don't use words, you use action. Slowly, carefully. One person steps forward. The tension spikes instantly. Hands tighten on weapons. Bodies stiffen. Time slows to a crawl. But the person doesn't attack. They crouch, and they set something on the ground. Food, then they step back. Silence. The meaning isn't clear, but the intention is unmistakable. Not aggression, not dominance. An offering, a signal. We are not here to fight. The forest goes still again, seconds stretch longer than minutes, and then something changes. Someone from the other group moves forward, slow, cautious, eyes locked on you. They don't lower their guard, not completely, but they answer, and they place something down too, another offering. And in that single moment, something happens that, as far as anyone knows, had never happened quite like this. Not war, not retreat. Exchange. The first trade. Not planned, not taught, not even fully understood by the people doing it, just discovered. Because both sides have stumbled onto something simple and enormous. Cooperation lowers risk, and it raises the odds you survive. This moment changes everything. Because now an idea exists that didn't exist a minute ago. Strangers are not only threats, they are also possibilities. And the second that idea is born, the floodgates open. Information moves, ideas spread. A better way to shape a spear travels from one group to the next. A smarter hunting trick. A safer way to make fire. A word for something that never had a word. Knowledge stops dying inside single tribes. It starts to travel. And isolation is no longer the default state of humanity. Connection is. But be honest, not every encounter ends like this. Far from it. Sometimes fear wins. Sometimes the food runs out. Sometimes a single misread gesture becomes a thrown stone. And a thrown stone becomes a war nobody wanted. And when that happens, it's brutal. In the ancient world, there were no treaties, no apologies, no second chances, only survival. And yet, even violence leaves something behind. It forces people to plan, to adapt, to bind together tighter than before. History learns, even when it hurts. And over thousands of years, this moment repeats. Again and again and again. Two strangers in a forest, two groups on a riverbank, two peoples on a distant shore. Each time the same terrified choice. Fight or connect. And slowly, connection wins. Because the groups that traded grew stronger than the groups that hid. Small groups become larger groups. Communities become settlements. Settlements become civilizations. Think about that. Everything around you exists because, at some point, strangers met strangers and chose not to run. The roads, the languages, the cities, 10,000 years of stacked up knowledge. None of it could exist in isolation, because progress doesn't happen when humans hide. It happens when ideas move, and ideas only move when humans connect. Which means the most important moment in human history might not be the one in any book. Not the invention of writing, not farming, not the wheel. It was something quieter, stranger, more human. It was the moment we realized we were not alone, because from that moment on, the world stopped being small. It became connected, complicated, unpredictable, and full of possibility. So, what if you met another human tribe in ancient times? You'd be terrified. They'd be terrified. Two groups, frozen, staring into the unknown. But that fragile, silent, knife-edge moment could change everything. Not just for you, not just for them, but for the entire future of the species. Because long before empires, long before nations, long before history itself was ever written down, there was one defining moment. Two groups of humans, standing face to face, and for the very first time, humanity met itself.